Praise Yah, brothers and sisters. Baruch are all those who revere Yahuah and walk in his ways. And that is what we're striving to do, right? Tahillim 128, verse 1. Today I'm going to be reading from the first book of Adam and Eve, chapter 13. And Yahuah is talking to Adam. And he first starts out by explaining to him about Satan, who was not at that time Satan, the adversary. He once was in agreement with the Most High. He was a close messenger, trusted with Yahuah's assignments. And he was beautiful. He was full of music. The book of Isaiah and Ezekiel talk about him. So anyway, so let's get started. Then when Aluah, who is compassionate and loving and kind and full of pity, heard Adam's voice, he said to him, "O Adam, so long as that good angel was obedient to me, a bright light rested on him and on his host. But when he transgressed my commandment, I deprived him of that bright nature, and he became dark. And when he was in the heavens, in the realms of light, he knew nothing of darkness. But he transgressed, and I made him fall from the Shamayim unto the Arets. And it was this darkness that came over him. And on you, Adam, while in my garden and obedient to me, did that bright light rest also. But when I heard of your transgression, I deprived you of that bright light. Yet of my compassion I did not turn you into darkness, but I made you your body of flesh, over which I spread this skin, in order that it may bear cold and heat. If I had let my wrath fall heavily on you, I should have destroyed you. And had I turned you into darkness, it would have been as if I had killed you. But in my kindness, I have made you as you are. When you transgressed my commandment, O Adam, I drove you from the garden and made you come forth into this land and commanded you to live in this cave, and darkness covered you, as it did over him who transgressed my commandment. Thus, O Adam, has this night deceived you. It is not to last forever, but is only of 12 hours. When it is over, daylight will return." Interesting statement. "Sigh not, therefore, neither be moved, and say not in your heart that this darkness is long and drags on wearily, and say not in your heart that I plague you with it. Strengthen your heart and be not afraid. This darkness is not a punishment, but, O Adam, I have made the day and have placed the greater light in it to give light, in order that you and your children should do your work." Another interesting statement. "For I knew you would sin and transgress and come out into this land. Yet I wouldn't force you, nor be heard over you, nor shut up, nor doom you through your fall, nor through your coming out from light into darkness, nor yet your coming from the garden into this land. For I made you of the light, and I willed to bring out children of light from you and like to you. But you didn't keep my commandment one day, until I had finished the creation and blessed everything in it. Then, concerning the tree I commanded you not to eat of, it's because I knew that Satan, who deceived himself, would also deceive you." Another interesting statement. "So that I have made known to you by means of the tree not to come near him. And I told you not to eat of the fruit thereof, nor to taste of it, nor yet to sit under it, nor to yield to it. Had I not been and spoken to you, O Adam, concerning the tree, and had I left you without a commandment, and you had sinned, it would have been an offense on my part, for not having given you any order, you would have turned around and blamed me for it. But I commanded you and warned you, and you fell. so that my creatures cannot blame me, but the blame rests on them alone. And O Adam, I have made the day so that you and your descendants can work and toil in it. Another interesting statement. And I have made the night for them to rest in it from their work, and for the beasts of the field to go forth by night and look for their food. Another interesting statement. But little of darkness now remains, O Adam, and daylight will soon appear. The times that I say interesting statement, it will show us what is a day and what is a night. In night we already rest, or we should. Modern day, there's no, it's more, it's a, continuous working and toiling. People don't hardly rest. People are working night shifts and stores are open all times of the night. But that's not how Yahuah created it to be. Man was supposed to rest during the night. And the only movement that should have been at night were the creatures that he created to come out at night, for the beasts of the field to go forth by night and to look for their food. It's another deception. 24 hours a day isn't a day. No, it's not. He says 12 hours in a day. And even Yahushua said it in the scriptures. Is it not 12 hours in a day? So, Yahuah has made plain that he gives us commandments to keep us from sinning because he knows what's already out there. It's not to be a harsh father. It's not to keep us from enjoying life. He told us in Deuteronomy, choose life. I'm presenting before you death and life, but choose life so there'll be well with you and your descendants. Here he's telling Adam the same. He said, if I had not told you, then the fault would have been mine. The blame would have been on me. But I did tell you. I told you not to eat of the fruit thereof, nor to taste of it, nor sit under it, nor yield to it. He said, concerning the tree, I command you not to eat of it. I knew that Satan, who deceived himself, would also deceive you. Remember the verse where Paul talks about in the last days, people are going to be deceiving and being deceived? If we know that Yah knows all things, in fact, the book of Hazan says the revelation of Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy. He tells us things. He lets us know where danger is. We reason within ourselves. We justify why we will still do what we're going to do. So I always say, and not just me, but there's some of us who say that it doesn't matter what fruit. So that's another deception, that it was an apple. Really? Then how come now as we eat apples, the same thing doesn't happen, right? Some type of tragedy doesn't happen to us. It doesn't matter what the fruit was. The fruit that we're looking at is disobedience. Disobedience. And what comes when we're disobedient? And there's some other times in this book that talks about what happened. in one of the other books, the Forgotten Book of Eden, he tells Adam, your master is the one who deceived you, because many times after they were out of the garden, what I liked about this book when I started reading it years ago is that it gave me a greater love for Father, to realize that when the act took place of disobedience and he had to escort them out of the garden, he didn't throw them out mad. He escorted them out. They knew why they were going out. Loving parents do that when they discipline. Discipline is a means of showing a person a better, more acceptable way of doing things, that their action was not acceptable, was not pleasing. Their behavior was not good. So when he escorted them out, he didn't cast them out like I was taught when I was a little girl. So we're talking many decades ago, right? But he continued to have a relationship with them. He taught them what to do with the wheat. He was with them all the time. Satan came back many times, deceiving them in different ways. He would come as a man sometimes as just different ways. And he continued to deceive them and tried to kill them. He did kill Adam a few times, and Yah would send his word. It says the word. He would send the word, people. He would send the word, brothers and sisters, and revive Adam. So the enemy is always out to deceive, to deceive. And he does all types of methods. But our Father, and also too, it lets us know that there's covenants that Yahuah made with Adam. And that's going to be in some upcoming audios as to how he's always been loving to Adam. He was disappointed. He was going to use him to bring forth other creatures of light, and which is one reason why Yahushua was called the last Adam. He did everything that Yah had planned on doing through the first Adam. Yahushua is the last Adam, not the second Adam, because there's no third or fourth. Yahushua came, he fulfilled the mission, his assignment. There is no other Adam. He is it. So with that, just want to let you know that commandments are given to keep us from falling into the hands of the evil one. Yahushua, after 40 days of fasting, the evil one came to tempt him. But he succeeded. He used the word against him. Brothers and sisters, I'm going to read again how Aluah said, "Then concerning the tree, I commanded you not to eat of it. Yet I knew that Satan, who deceived himself, would also deceive you. So I made known to you by means of the tree not to come near him. And I told you not to eat of the fruit thereof, nor to taste of it, nor yet to sit under it, nor to yield to it. Had I not been and spoken to you, O Adam, concerning the tree, and had I left you without a commandment, and you had sinned, it would have been an offense on my part for not having given you any order. You would turn around and blame me for it. But I commanded you and warned you, and you fell. So that my creatures cannot blame me, but the blame rests on them." He said, "If I had let my wrath fall heavily on you, I should have destroyed you." Oh, I'm grateful that we're not appointed to his wrath. If we walk right before him, if we keep his commandments, if we be covenant keepers with him. If I had let my wrath fall heavily on you, I should have destroyed you. And had I turned you into darkness, it would have been as if I had killed you. But in my kindness, I have made you as you are. When you transgressed my commandment, O Adam, I drove you from the garden and made you come forth into this land, and commanded you to live in this cave, and darkness covered you, as it did over him, Lucifer, who transgressed my commandment. Strengthen your heart and be not afraid. This darkness is not a punishment. He also said too that I knew you would sin and transgress and come out into this land. He already knew it was going to happen. That's why, he goes before us. And he knows all things. He knows what the enemy's going to do to set us up. He knows what's in our generational past. He knows what we are, what Tahillim 103 says, that he remembers our frame that is of dust. He's always trying to warn us. And that's why when we get to know his character and know his voice, we can know when he's speaking to us. When we get to know his character, we know when something's presented to us that's not of him. Adam knew Yah. So I would recommend you read the books, or maybe even, I think reading the books is even better than listening. I've listened to many different readers, but still either way, you will have a greater love for Father. You will have a better knowledge of the evil one. He's constantly, even with Yahushua, after Yahushua was victorious over the temptations after he came out of the wilderness, it says that the enemy left him for a while. Be not deceived, brothers and sisters. Know that all the commandments are to protect us and to give us life. And everything we do, we are choosing death or life. Conversations we have, death or life. Activities that we partake in, death or life. Thoughts we have, death or life. Choices we make, death or life. Either death or life. And in the last days, when we choose whom we will serve, whom we will allow to be our master, it'll either be death or life. And if we choose the side of the enemy, it will seem as though we are choosing life, but we're actually going to be choosing death. Because that life that we think that we're protecting and we're choosing is temporary. And attached to it is death. Joshua said, choose you this day whom you will serve. As for me and my house, we will serve Yahuah. And you know, when we think about us being the house, the tabernacle, the temple of the Most High, we might not necessarily be able to speak for everybody in our physical addressed homes that are built by the hands of man. But the house that we live in, we can speak for that house. And we can say, as for me and my house, we will serve Yahuah. So brothers and sisters, let's be attentive to the one who is deprived of the bright nature, who has been sentenced to darkness. Let's be aware of him. Even though we know that at times he can present himself as an angel, a messenger of light. There'll be something. Remember my granddaughter called him Meanie D. And she said, you'll know it's him because there'll be darkness there. And the darkness might not be something we see, but it'll be something he says. It'll be in the way something's presented to us. That we'll get a glimpse of some darkness, and we ought to know we need to flee. Let's not be deceived like that prophet who prophesied of the king that would come, who will represent the Most High. I see his name. I can't pronounce it right now. It's J. Was it Joash? Anyways, he prophesied of it and told what all he was going to do. And sure enough, when he came, he did all of that. And he broke down their altars and their groves and did everything. And that prophet did everything that Yahuah told him to do, how to travel, how to go, what to say. And when he was finished with the assignment, perfectly done, he told him which way to go home and told him, do not eat or drink. And another prophet came to him because he wanted to spend time with him to hear all that Yahuah had said. And he lied to him and said, when the prophet said, no, I am not to go and eat or drink. He had even told the king, when the king says, well, come and eat. No, I cannot. But he believed that prophet when the prophet said, a messenger came and told me to bid you come. And as he was finishing eating, that same prophet who lied told him the truth of the word of Yahuah, that you're going to die today because you did not keep my commandment. We have to know Yahuah's voice. I say we, because that's me. I don't know how many of you've ever, because I've done it, like afterwards said, oh, y'all, that was you. That was you that was telling me that. We cannot be second guessing, because what's coming? Oh, my. Oh, my. So word came back to the prophet that he lied to had been killed by a lion. And when he got there to see him, the lion was still standing next to him and his donkey. The lion didn't kill him, didn't eat him. He just killed him. And he laid there. It is serious about keeping the commandments of the Most High. Serious matter. You know, I guess it's a way of us exalting ourselves above him. Like, my ways are better than your ways. My thoughts are higher than your thoughts. But in Yashayahu, he says our ways are not higher than his ways, and our thoughts are not higher than his thoughts. But if we go against his commands, what else can we be saying? You don't know what you're talking about. I'm going to do it this way. Sounds like the evil one in the garden. Did he really say that? He only said that because he knows the day of you partake of this. I'm going to say partake. I ain't going to say eat. Because I don't know if they ate or what, but they partook of something that was against the commandments of the Most High, their creator, their friend. Brothers and sisters, we have to guard our hearts, have our minds in tune with the will of the Most High. Because remember in Matthew 7, around the 21st, 22nd verse, he said, depart from me, you workers of iniquity, because I never knew you. I know you not. And why? He said, because they did not do the will of the Father. All that they were doing, healing the sick in his name, raising the dead in his name, feeding the poor, whatever they were doing in his name, they were doing it, but they were forsaking doing the will of the Father. And that's what he wants us to do, is do his will. Do his will. And he will defend us and protect us. He will provide for us. He'll give us peace. He'll illuminate us with the wholeness of his being that brings protection. So brothers and sisters, he warns us. He gives us commandments. How many times did he not have Musa or Masa to tell the children of Yisrael what to do? And that day he said, I'm recording it in the Shamayim. I'm talking to you right now. I'm presenting before you death or life. And on top of that, I'm going to tell you, choose life. so it'll be well with you and your descendants. Other times, keep my commandments, and this will happen for you. All good. Oh, yeah. That we can become commandment keepers. Hallelujah. That we will become commandment keepers. What a people who would be pleasing to him. Book of Psalms, Tahillim, Dawood often said, shine your face upon us. In the book of Numbers, chapter 6, was it the Himmadar? He says that he would shine his face upon us. Oh, a father that's so excited and smiling about his children. Those are commandment keepers. Those are my children. Messengers, follow them, pursue them, hunt them down, make sure they're kept safe. I'm giving you charge over them to keep them in all their ways. They love me. And I know they do because they keep my commandments. And they put nobody else's word above my word. They are attentive to me. They are mindful to be obedient. They are concerned about pleasing me. And so because of that evil one, the adversary, is going to come after commandment keepers. He's coming after them. He hates us with a vengeance. Well, he's in darkness. And if we're commandment keepers and we become children of light, it's blinding him and is reminding him of what he had. And because of pride and ambition, he lost it. And he's envious of commandment keepers. Because of the good that we experience here, and that we will experience that Yahuah has prepared for us beyond anything that we can think, anything we've ever seen before. And he's trying to keep as many from achieving that and experiencing that for eternity. So let's be commandment keepers. Let's know that we don't want to fall under the wrath of Yah. And I hope from this that you get a knowledge of what night and day are, so that it can help you in your keeping of Shabbat, the feast days. And with that, I'm closing. Be encouraged, brothers and sisters. And we will meet again. We will meet again. The reason I got in this is because there's another message that y'all's been talking to me about for weeks and weeks. And he led me to this to get some verses out of here that he had brought to me. And so there's more to come along this line. And there's something else that's coming too that I think is going to be very filling to our being. But anyways, I am going to close for now. Have a wonderful day, a wonderful Yom in Yahuah. Our wonderful, loving, compassionate, kind Father and Creator, the Sovereign One, the Ancient of Days, the Almighty, omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient One. There's none like him, none to compare to him. Nowhere is there none to compare to him. He loves us and he knows us. And we want to be counted worthy to be in the remnant, counted worthy to escape the things that's come upon the face of the earth, counted worthy to endure to the end. I love you, brothers and sisters. Continue to fight the fight of belief and trust in him, because the enemy's always after us. Remember, since the time of Yohanan and Mercer, the kingdom of the Shamayim has suffered violence, and the violent take it by force. There's a fight. But the great thing about it is, Yahuah Teshuvah, the captain of the host, is with us. And he fights for us. And he defends us. He never leaves us nor forsakes us. He goes before us. He's walking with us. And he's got our rear. We are encompassed about with messengers. This is a good place to be in. I love you, brothers and sisters. Until next time, stay encouraged. And remember, we win. We win in Yahuah. We win in Yah. We win in Yah.